things into perspective. Firstly, isn't what you're saying suggesting that the meaning of the Quran is limited to that time and space? How is it relevant to us today then?
This is definitely a very important question because on one side we know that each of these verses had a historical context. A certain event triggered the revelation of that verse. And we definitely know that that verse related to that event because it was triggered by that. So doesn't that make it very specific to that event? How can we then apply it today? So here we come to this very, very fine distinction, and I would like my audience to pay attention here, between this idea that verses were revealed in a certain context, but they're not limited to that context. Okay, what does that mean? So it's like this, that a certain event happens. Okay, let me give you a regular example. So inside a family, there are children, and the father wants to teach the children some life principles, some things that are applicable throughout their life. So what he does is that but he says that if I'm going to teach them directly, they're not going to understand. So what I'm going to do, this father says, I'm going to wait for an event to happen. For example, a certain fight happens and one of the children, he made a certain mistake. So now he said that, look, this is the right context for me to give out the general principle that is applicable to all the situations that would be similar to this situation. So basically what happens is that a general principle is given out whereby this incident becomes one instance and one example of that general principle.
But so Allah in this case would have used that opportunity to give out a message, exactly. Not that that message is limited to that.
So I'll just give you an example. So there's this verse in the Quran that says that إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ إِنْ جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا. That whenever a fasik person, okay, so there's a definition of what a fasik means. If he comes with a news, then make sure that you verify the news. You can't trust a news brought by a person who's a fasik. Okay, fasik has a certain meaning. We're not going to that. Okay, now this verse was revealed in a certain specific context. Something happened. A specific person. He came. He gave a certain news. Some people around Rasulullah, they believed in that news, and that led to a lot of problems. So Allah is saying that this is the right opportunity to give out this general principle that you can apply today.
So this principle is not only for that time. Even today, if a fasiq comes to us, then we should.
So what automatically happens is that incident becomes one example of that general principle, and that's how Quran becomes a universal book of guidance. And this is the amazing way in which the Quran is revealed. That on one side there are events triggering the revelation. Those verses are very relevant to that incident, and they're trying to teach people something related to that. But the meaning given out in that verse is a universal and general meaning. In fact, these are those very, very important Quranic principles. So even this verse, in ja'akum fasikum bin naba'in fatabayyanu, even though it was for that specific incident, it's a very important principle today even. I mean, we should and we should try to look for modern instances and examples of that. So, for example, you'll say that, okay, if there's a certain news channel, news agency is known for example, fake news, for lying. This verse is telling that, فَتَبَيَّنُوا.
Then we shouldn't just rely on that. On that news channel.
We can't just say that because they said so, it must be true. No, we're not even saying it's false. Quran is not even saying that deny that news. Saying that, verify it. Just,
this is important.
Make
this is actually quite important. That Allah is not saying deny it.
Yeah. See, it's very precise. It's saying that فَتَبَيَّنُوا, like
sometimes the fasik people say the truth as well, right? It's just telling you, be cautious. When it's a fasik person, just don't take it for granted.